You know the word overload, don't you? That feeling that you're in water and it's not here on you, but it's here, and you're sinking quickly. I know you know what overload feels like, because this week I put out a question on Facebook, and the question was, what makes you feel like you are about to go in overload? 250 responses. Do you know why? Because that's the world we're living in right now. See, overload isn't the one thing. Overload is the 5 things that hit you. Here was a list of a few of them. Works, school, digital learning, grief, health, church being closed. Sorry about that. Change from COVID, bills, job, future, media, elderly family, unrest in our country, raising kids, expectation of self, finances, the election, life, balance, riots and division, no break or vacation, politics, mask. All of those things contribute to this emotion of overload. Listen to what the psalmist said. Psalm 23, verse 1. The psalmist said, the Lord is, and I want you to underline, highlight, circle it. The Lord is my shepherd. Remember, a sheep is only as good as their shepherd, right? You could have one shepherd over here with starving sheep. You could have another shepherd over here with sheep that are lying down and restful. It's all the quality of the shepherd, not the quality of the sheep. The Lord is my shepherd. And remember, he's writing from the perspective of a sheep. And I have all that I need. There's nothing in my life that I'm wanting. He gives me all that I need. And then this is where we'll get into this week. He lets me rest in green meadows, and he leads me beside peaceful streams. So the shepherd not only takes care of me, he gets me to rest. So here's the question of the day. How in the world, in the middle of the madness that you and I are living in, do we begin to find rest? How in the world, in the middle of the craziness of life, as it's increasing and pressures are increasing and all those things I named earlier, right, that hit us from the minute we get out of bed, how in the world do we find rest in the middle of that? 3 things. Ready? Pen, pencil, something to write with, something to type with, with your thumbs this morning. I want you to remember this. I am never alone. Never. You are never alone. See, a sheep, their job was to stay with the shepherd. They had to trust the shepherd, and when they stayed alongside the shepherd, they were never alone. And I want you to write this little thought in. As your good shepherd, Jesus is always with you. So God did not call you in to send you out and go, hey, good luck, have a great time. I hope the animals don't eat you up. You know what we do to ourselves? We wander away. See, the crazy part of the whole story is there are times, even in my own journey, the reason I feel alone is I've wandered away from my shepherd. When those times come, and when those panicked, overwhelmed, overloaded feelings like it's all on me come, I want you to remind yourself of this simple truth. You are never alone. He stands guard over your life. Principle number 2. I will only rest when I'm full. I will only rest when I'm full. See, that sheep's belly had to be full for it to find rest. Well, how do we fill ourselves up on his word? So I'm just going to, this is a little Mike Linch time. This is Mike Linch therapy, okay? Do you know why sometimes I'm not full of his word? Because I'm starving his word and I'm filling myself up on the fears and thoughts of the world. Well, listen, I got to know the news. I'm not saying don't watch the news. I'm not saying you don't need to know what's going on. Not what I'm saying. But if I take in more of that than I do this, no wonder I can't rest. I determine in the first 15 minutes of my day what kind of day I'm going to have and what voice I'm going to listen to. Either I go to his word first or I go to Instagram and Twitter first. Which one? And you know what I find on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook? Division, people being mad. This book will never get old to you. I came to know Christ at 14. I'm not 14 anymore, so I've been at this for a little while. You know what I find? When I'm intentional to get in his word, there's always something new. Number 3, I know the way when I listen and I obey. I know the way when I listen and obey. He leads me beside the peaceful streams. I hear his voice and I follow it. I hear his voice and it calms me down. See, here's what we know about sheep. Sheep have terrible instincts. You know that they're in a herd, there were times one sheep would run off and the other sheep, because they don't know, they follow after the one that ran off. I better not trust me to get where I need to go. I better follow the shepherd. So here's what a shepherd does. A shepherd doesn't stand behind his sheep and herd them in mass. He is out in front, listen, leading him by his voice. It's not a screaming voice. It's that calm voice that they know, listen, because they hear it every day. Jesus said this in John 10. He said, the sheep know my voice. They come to me.